guys, and welcome to my channel, Crown Glory here. So today I'm going to be discussing the pros and cons of knotless braids. If it's good for you, if it's not good for you, what I think about them. So if you're interested, then stay tuned. Okay, you guys, so I'm just going to try to make this video quick and to the point. So I'm going to start off with the pros. So there's plenty of pros to knotless braids. I absolutely love knotless braids. It's one of my favorite styles to do on my clients, and also I love to do them on myself when I want a protective style. So right now I actually have some knotless braids in. It's been a month since I had them in, and they still look pretty good. I just decided to throw it up in a bun so my hair won't be all over the way. These are actually the Romantic Goddess knotless braids. So if you have not seen that tutorial, make sure you check it out. I'll leave it up here. I also have the regular box braid version 2 of this, so I'll link both of them into the description box as well. So I have the curly version of knotless braids. But let's get into the pros. One pro about knotless braids in comparison to the original box braids, regular box braids, is that it's faster than box braids. That fact can all depend on the hairstylist or the braider as well. So one braider can actually be faster at box braids rather than knotless braids, but for me, the knotless braids are actually a lot faster than the original box braids. So it typically takes me about 4 hours to do knotless braids. So it could range from 4 to 6 hours, but mainly 4 to 5, depending on the size of the knotless braids and the length of the knotless braids. But I normally knock out a set of knotless braids in 4 to 4.5 hours on average for the regular knotless braids that I do. This one, the Romantic Goddess, takes a little bit longer, and then if I do small, of course, that takes longer, and then if I do a longer length, that takes a bit longer. So it is faster than regular box braids. Regular box braids for me, some people are really fast, like Dope A Piana. She can knock out some box braids and she said 3 hours, I think. Well, it takes me a little bit longer. It takes me about 5 hours to do original box braids. Another pro for knotless braids are that they are lightweight. So knotless braids are typically more lightweight than box braids. So a lot of times when people get box braids, they want them to be really full. Some people don't mind them being a bit heavy, but knotless braids, they're not heavy. Generally, they're not heavy. They're lightweight. So yeah, it's nice and flowy when you wear them, and it's not heavy on the head because you typically use a bit less hair because the way they are braided is more natural. Like, it's more like, you see how it's braided at the root? It's more like you're braiding your natural hair than a box braid with a knot. Another pro that goes hand in hand with a lightweight is that you use less hair, so that's more convenient. So if you're doing your own set of knotless braids, you don't have to spend as much money on the hair. Like, you save a few dollars. So you can use about 2 packs of braiding hair, the pre-stretch hair, the one that has 3 bundles in the pack. You can typically use just 2 packs of that hair and get away with doing a nice full set of knotless that's not skimpy or anything. And then if you do a regular set of box braids, you would more than likely have to use about 3 packs of that same type of hair. So you save a little bit more money by getting knotless braids, at least in the hair part. So if you do your own knotless, then you could save money by only having to buy about 2 packs of hair. Another pro when it comes to knotless braids that goes hand in hand with the lightweight is that it looks natural. So we know that knotless braids are started with, braiding down 2 strands and then adding in the hair. So it's way more natural. You have more of your natural hair exposed than the regular box braids. So that's more so of a pro. Like, it just looks more natural. It looks more like your real hair. It just looks good. It just has a totally different look than regular box braids. So a lot of people, they like that natural look. Now some people on the other hand, they might find that a little bit childish if they're like more of a mature person. Like, maybe they're in their mid 40s and older, they might say like, hey, it just looks a little childish to me. But there are different ways you can wear your knotless braids. Like I said, you can do it with curls, for the goddess look, or you can make your knotless a bit fuller. I do have a few clients that get extra hair added to their knotless braids to make it fuller because they don't want any they don't want to see any scalp, they don't want to see any of those parts. I actually enjoy that about the knotless braids. I don't want them to be skimpy. But I do like when you can see, the defined parts. So it has like a balance of fullness, like it's not too full and then it has, you can see the defined parts. I really like that look, but there's some people that just like the really full knotless look where you can't see really any of the parts. So it just depends on the person, but they're typically more natural looking and they're typically more lightweight, but it just depends on you. You can add more hair if you want to make it fuller. Another reason why knotless braids are great is that it's less tension on your roots. So there's a lot less tension on your roots when it comes to doing knotless braids than there is when you do regular box braids. So if you have a regular set of box braids, then you know it typically has a knot at the root, and that can cause tension. That knot can gradually pull up and up and up, and it could pull some of your hair out while it's causing all of that tension if you wear your hair up and down, and then it just be heavy and you just be sore for the first couple of days. And I still do box braids, regular box braids, but majority of my clients that get the braided look, they get the knotless. When you do the knotless, there's not a lot of tension because, like I said, it's just like you're braiding your hair naturally, like you do regular natural box braids, and you could put your hair up the first day. It's not too rough on your hair. So yeah, there's just a lot less tension when you do regular knotless braids. Okay, another pro is obvious. It just looks great. So it looks amazing. I love the way knotless braids look if they're done right. So I love the way my knotless braids look. I love the way some other people that does knotless braids, how they look. Dope 8 Piana is one good person to look at. Glam by Mary does pretty good ones. The Braids by Shania. Now, I feel like this girl right here that I'm talking about, and there's some other people on YouTube, but I feel like she is a person that's not spoken of. Like, some people are sleeping on her. She has a lot of subscribers, but her work is like beautiful. She did a set of small knotless braids probably like a year ago maybe. Those things were beautiful. Like, she does some of the best braids. Like, she is one of the best braiders in my opinion. Her work is so beautiful. Like, she does really good knotless braids. And there's some people that I see post knotless braids on Instagram that does some really good. Like, they have like a good balance of seeing the parts and having the braids full. So I really just love the whole look of knotless braids, and I actually started doing knotless braids by accident. One of my family members referred someone to me that wanted to get these braids done, and I knew nothing about knotless braids. I heard of it, but I never did it. I never practiced them, and I did it, and it was a success. It wasn't perfect. Now, my first ones, they were kind of thick, but even with that first post, mad people had started to come to me, and that's how I built up my clientele. Like, I came from Ohio and came back here to New Jersey, and then I just built a clientele from there. So I absolutely love knotless braids. Another pro thing about knotless braids is that they typically look good on all textures. So you could do them on like somebody that has like a loose curl pattern or softer hair texture, and then you can also do it on somebody that has like a kinkier hair texture, and it still looks good as long as it's done right. I do feel like it does generally suit people that have like, you know, more of a curly hair texture rather than like kinky, like, so maybe like 3B, 3C, 4A, like those hair textures. I do feel like, for me personally, I do feel like it looks the best on their hair texture. Or I have like 3C, 4A. I feel like it looks good on my hair texture. No hair texture discrimination, but I feel like it looks really good on that because the braids are more natural looking, so I feel like it just flows a little bit nice, like you get needle parts and stuff. But one of my clients, she has 4C hair, and it looked beautiful on her as well. So it looks good on just about anybody, as long as it's done properly. You have to do it correctly for your hair texture and type, so it could work for anybody's hair texture. It's a great protective style. It's a great way to grow out your hair. A lot of people, they want to do protective styles to grow out their hair, or they just don't want to have to bother with it. So it's a really great way. So we have knotless braids. People used to do the regular box braids back in the day, and then we also have like weaves and stuff, but I feel like knotless braids are like one of the best protective styles. So knotless braids, and then certain wigs, they're a really good protective style. So if you want a protective style, go knotless or go wig, or switch it up. Another pro is that it's easy to shampoo in. So if you have a set of knotless braids, I wouldn't really recommend you to wash your hair when you have curly knotless like I have, and because I have a lot of strips of curls in this in this set. But if you have like the regular knotless braids, it's pretty easy to shampoo your hair with those knotless braids. So maybe when I do my next set, because I am doing protective styles for a while, this is my second set of knotless braids. I'm going to be doing two more before I just decide to wear my hair back out natural. Um, my next set, maybe once I have it in for like 2 weeks, I might show you guys how to wash, how to shampoo your knotless braids. But it is a lot easier to shampoo your hair with knotless braids in it rather than wearing regular box braids. You can just easily get to your scalp and all that stuff. And then of course you can achieve all the same styles with knotless braids that you can with regular box braids. So they're parted in boxes. They're normally parted in squares. Some people do them in triangles, diamonds. I haven't really seen anybody do knotless in rounds. Like rounds is like the traditional African box braid shape. I haven't really seen anybody do it like that, but yeah, you can typically wear your knotless braids in any style, so that's a pro. So let's go over some cons. So I only have a few cons. I think I only have two, so let's go over them. So a con is that it may not last as long as original box braids. So since knotless braids are more natural, you have a little bit more of your natural hair exposed because you don't have that knot. You're not putting a whole bunch of braiding hair in your hair typically. Since that is the case, your hair may not last as long. Your hair might get a little bit frizzy, so they do last a good amount of time. And I have clients tell me like, "Oh my God, Davina, my hair is still lasting," but they typically last for about a month and a half. And with regular box braids, you can have them in for up to 3 months. I wouldn't recommend anybody to go over 3 months. I would actually just recommend 2 months, but you can have box braids still look decent in your hair for about 3 months. That's one of the big cons. It may not last as long for you doing knotless braids. It may not last as long as it would if you had gotten a regular set of box braids. Another con is something that I talked about a little bit earlier in this video, is that it may be a little bit less full. So if you're a person that likes really full braids, then you might want to opt for the box braids, because box braids are a little bit fuller in size and density than knotless braids. Knotless braids are a little bit more lightweight and a little bit less full. You don't want to get them skimpy, of course. When I first did them, I did have a time where I did one set a little skimpy, and I didn't realize that until I looked back. But yeah, you definitely don't want to go skimpy. You want it to be a good fullness, but it may not be as full as a regular set of box braids if you get a full set of box braids. So that is one thing to consider. And like I said before, you can get your knotless a bit fuller. I might add a clip of a full set that I did. When I say a full set, I just mean that the set of knotless braids were really full. I did one that was really, really full. So if you're a person that likes that, just make sure you like how full regular box braids are. Like when you get it done really full at like an African hair braiding shop, you want to make sure to tell the person that's braiding your hair, if you're not doing it yourself, you want to let them know that you want them to be really full. Show them a photo or something, and I'm pretty sure if they're really good at doing knotless, they can achieve that look for you. So you guys, that is all for my pros and cons of knotless braids. I really do enjoy knotless braids. I am going to be doing more up until late spring, so about 2 or 3 more sets of knotless braids I'll do, and I'm going to be recording every last one that I do. I already recorded 2 sets, so make sure you check them out, which is the Romantic Goddess knotless braids, and also I have a video titled first set of knotless braids in over a year. I did a set of knotless braids within over a year. It was true. I haven't had knotless braids in a year from that time on. So yeah, don't forget to watch those videos. Do not forget to give this video a thumbs up, and do not forget to subscribe to this YouTube channel for more goodness. I give updates on my salon. I have my own salon and I give updates on that. I am open to giving advice. I also do Salon Work Wednesdays, where I show a little video clip of some work that I did in the salon that I posted on Instagram. I also do full tutorials, and I also do free vlogs here and there. So everything that's hair related, I do it here on this YouTube channel.